Good morning, guys. I wanted to go over the first exercise for our next project. We will be working with quadrant drawing for this next unit, and all you're going to need is a pencil and a piece of paper for the entire unit. So the first exercise is what I like to call the handwriting challenge, and it's going to help you draw what you see and not what you know. It's my favorite thing to remember when it comes to drawing. Looking at what's actually there and not thinking so much about what the object actually is, but drawing only what you see by looking. Okay, sometimes our head gets a little bit confused when we're drawing something. We look at that object and recognize what it is. So I always use the example of a tree. So if I were to say draw a tree, you would probably draw what looks like a little broccoli tree. And if I were to give you a picture of a tree to draw, you may draw what you see in front of you, or you may draw a little broccoli tree still because you know in your head that's what a tree looks like. So quadrant drawing is meant for you to learn how to break something down into smaller pieces, and so that it's unrecognizable to you. And it kind of like tricks your brain into not knowing what you're actually drawing, and that helps actually with accuracy. So the first exercise for this is the handwriting challenge. So what I did was I had someone in my house write their name. So I'm using Charlotte's name, and it's actually a very interesting challenge to do with a little kid handwriting, because you'll see that you will be able to draw this name exactly as it looks, even though the way that Charlotte writes isn't necessarily the way that I would write her name. So you're going to pick somebody in your house. It could be a sibling, it could be younger, it could be older, it could be one of your parents, and you're going to ask them to write their name. It could be in cursive or it could be in print. It doesn't matter, okay? So I have Charlotte's name here. I just asked her to write it for me. And what I did is I had her write it on a folded piece of paper so that I have an area to draw my version of her name, okay? And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip it so that it's upside down, okay? And I'm going to draw my version right here on the bottom, okay? I'm going to try to do two things. I'm going to try to make the size within my rectangle the same as the size that she's made it, and I'm going to try to make the shapes of the letters the same. I am not asking you to write this person's name. I'm asking you to draw this person's name, and there's a big difference, okay? So I don't want to see you write this same person's name in your handwriting down here. I want you to draw what you see of that person's name, okay? So I'm looking at it so that it's upside down to me and backwards, okay? So I'm going to start down at the bottom. And I'm looking at her letters. I'm looking at the spacing between her letters. Actually, really hard. Okay, so I'm just finishing up, and I'm looking it over and checking to see if there's not any changes that I can make, which I see one over here. I'm really looking at the way the person has drawn each letter and how I can make my letters more alike to theirs. So here's my finished version. Charlotte's name is on the bottom, and the one that I drew is on the top. Okay, so you can see they're nearly identical. Okay, and that's because I didn't try to write her name, I tried to draw her name, and I looked at each shape of each letter. I looked at where each line intersected with another, how big or small something was. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to pick someone in your house and do a trick for them, okay? Ask them to write their name on a half sheet of paper, and then you draw your version on the other side of the paper. Remember that I drew this while looking at it upside down. I know it's backwards in here. I don't know if it will flip when I save the video, but I drew this while it was upside down, so this is upside down. When you're all done, you can turn it right side up to check how good you did it, okay? So what I want you to do is I want you to do this challenge and take a picture with it. and post it to Google Classroom. Okay? Hope you guys are doing well. I miss you. Bye-bye.